So how are my past dividend picks doing? About a year ago, I thought for fun I would make a video and put together 10 companies. I thought that this portfolio would make a pretty good diversified dividend portfolio, but it's been 12 months, so let's go back and see how they're doing. So the 10 companies I chose for this was ANZ, APA, Centura Capital, Eagers Automotive, Fortescue Metals, Helia Group, IPH, JB Hi-Fi, Macmillan Shakespeare, and Nickel Industries. So we do have some mining companies in there, as I thought that I would have. Let's go and have a look. Now, I chose these at the time because I thought they represented a good range of sectors. They were fairly balanced, they had high yields, and they were fairly consistent overall. I still agree with that, although we know that mining and materials companies have gone down a bit due to tariff threats and just other global issues. The mining sector is one of our largest exporters here in Australia, and it can be cyclical in nature anyway, so it's been really good in the past few years, but now with the uncertainty, the economic uncertainty, it might be dipping a bit, but that doesn't mean I still think it's a bad investment. Anyway, since I created this to be a dividend portfolio, we'll compare it against both the ASX 200 and the biggest dividend ETF in Australia, which is VHY, just so we can compare both growth over the last 12 months and how many dividends you got. So looking at this on the 21st of July, ANZ went up 1.9%, APA 4%, CNI 7.44%, APE nice, nearly 80%, FMG was down, nearly 20%, HLI up 27%, that's good, IPH down 16%, JB Hi-Fi is up 60%, MMS is up just nearly 1%, and NIC down about 5.5%. Okay, so let's add up and see what that averages. Okay, so that's an increase of about 14%, which is pretty good for a year. Compare that to the ASX 200, which went up around 9%, so a little higher than the ASX 200, but we only have 10 companies. And against VHY only went up 3.69%. So we definitely did way better than VHY. But let's check dividends because I did create this to be a dividend portfolio. Okay, so dividends. I'm going to put the results that I got up here. How I determined what the dividends would have been roughly over 1 year is approximately 1 year what the price was, and then I just calculated per share how much dividends that company has paid, and I worked it out that way. So most of the dividends, as you would expect, are around the 5%. So there is one notable one, and that's Helia. And I was wondering, did I make a mistake in the calculations? But no, they paid a special dividend, and that's why it's so high. Sometimes companies, if they've got an excess of cash for any reason, maybe it's from the buyback, maybe it was from something else, they give that special dividend back to investors. I love it when this happens. It is kind of rare, it doesn't happen all the time, but that's why the dividend here of Helia is so high. So with a 10,000 investment, 1,000 in each of those companies, you would have made around $786. Again, that's going to depend on what day you bought the stocks, but that's a pretty good figure. And comparing that to VHY, you would have got $900 worth of dividends if you had reinvested in VHY instead. So the dividends there were higher by about $120, probably because VHY has quite a lot more companies, but also there could have been more companies having higher dividends. We actually had a pretty good dividend year this year. Growth has been pretty good as well with most companies. But yeah, we did have a very good dividend year in the last 12 months. So what are some of the hits and misses? And would I still choose this dividend portfolio today? So overall, I still think that this is a pretty good balanced dividend portfolio. I'm not suggesting you buy all these stocks, do your own research. I mostly did this because I wanted to just put together 10 companies that I thought would make a good portfolio, a good balanced overall portfolio with a mix of sectors. And I still think it's pretty good. There are a few companies in there that I might not put in if I was doing it again today, but overall I think it's still pretty balanced. My misses, let's start with those first. Well, obviously the mining companies, FMG, Fortescue Metals, and IPH and NIC, Nickel Industries. But the industrials are very cyclical, so that's to be expected. So hits, obviously Eagers Automotive went up the most with nearly 80%. That's great. JB Hi-Fi also went up 60%. I actually do own JB Hi-Fi and I've owned it for a really long time. They pay excellent dividends and they've always had good growth. Can't say that they will always be that way, but they've been a really good company, a really good investment for me. And Helia went up as well. This is one that I might not put in this time if I was like buying right now, but if I held, I would probably still hold. I don't know. This is more a watch and see kind of company for me right now. But yeah, I still think that this portfolio was pretty sound. It performed pretty well. The dividends were lower than VHY. You would have made more dividends through VHY, but the growth was better. But this was just over 1 year, over 12 months. And we know as a dividend investor that 1 year is nothing. So I really would like to look at this same portfolio in say 2 years, maybe even 5 years. If I'm still doing videos, I'll be still doing videos. Maybe, who knows? But anyway, I love looking back and seeing what happened next, especially when it comes to my past picks. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you next week. Take care.